Hey everyone, welcome back to the Counselor HQ podcast, your space for real conversations about the counseling world, mental health, and how we can better support the clients and students sitting across from us every day. Today's episode is one I think every counselor needs in their toolkit because once you see it, you can't unsee it. We're talking about the connection between ADHD and negative self-assessment. So why do so many of our clients with ADHD walk around believing something is wrong with them? My husband has ADHD. Some of my current clients have ADHD, and a ton of my former students had ADHD. A common theme I noticed among the large majority of them was that they all had a negative self-image, and I really wanted to explore that more. So that's where today's episode was born. So let's start with the research. There's a clear, consistent link between ADHD and lower self-esteem, negative self-concept, and poor self-efficacy. And maybe you already knew this, but I guess I just took it as what it was and didn't really look deeper into it. And so that's what I wanted to do today. This negative concept shows up across kids, adolescents, adults. And importantly, it's not just about feeling bad. We're talking about deeply internalized beliefs like I'm not smart, I'm lazy, I mess everything up. So yes, this is absolutely research backed. But here's the part I really want you to hear. ADHD does not cause negative self-beliefs. Experiences around ADHD do. So let's break down how this actually forms, because this is where your work as a counselor becomes incredibly powerful. First, we need to recognize repeated, mismatched experiences. Clients with ADHD are often trying just as hard, but getting very different results. They forget things. They miss steps. They struggle to follow through. And over time, the message becomes, I should be able to do this, but I can't. And that gap, that is where the shame grows. And I can guarantee you that in schools, that gap is huge and that shame is large. So they're also getting feedback from the environment. Think about clients, students, think about what they hear growing up or currently while they're growing up. You're not trying hard enough. Just focus. Why can't you do this? Even when it's not said harshly, it adds up and eventually turns into I'm the problem. Also, it's compounded by social experiences. Many kids with ADHD experience peer rejection, being labeled too much. They have difficulty maintaining friendships. So now it's not just I can't do school, it also becomes I'm too much for people. There's also this emotional sensitivity. A lot of individuals with ADHD experience heightened sensitivity to criticism. So even small moments feel big, and those moments stick. We really have to remember that their brain is wired differently. That's why they have this ADHD diagnosis. So how does this show up clinically? When this student or client is sitting in your office, they're going to minimize their strengths. They're going to talk harshly about themselves. They are going to avoid things like schoolwork because in their mind, they're thinking, what's the point? They're going to have two vast differences, either perfectionism or they're going to shut down. Okay, it's like two ends of the spectrum. They're either or. They're not somewhere in the middle. And they also have chronic comparison because that has been built into them. You know, from a young age, maybe teachers were like, you should be doing this like so-and-so is, or why can't you be more like your brother? Okay. Sometimes they don't even mention ADHD, these clients and students. They just say things like, I feel like I'm failing at life. So here's where we step in. This is where we can help shift the narrative, okay? This is where we shift from awareness to intervention. Because here's the truth. Many ADHD clients and students don't need more strategies first. They need a new story about themselves, okay? So here we are, especially as school counselors, throwing more strategies at these students that have ADHD. Maybe those are helpful, but first they need to learn that they are not the problem. So reframing I'm the problem into my brain works differently. You need to normalize that neurodiversity. You also can help reframe I can't into this system doesn't fit me. Externalize the struggle. It's not about them. It's about the system that isn't working in a way that effectively teaches them how to learn. We need to reframe I always fail into I've had repeated mismatches. Okay? Again, it goes back to the system. Schools are not built for kids with ADHD. This reduces the shame and builds that self-compassion. Okay? And yeah, we don't want them to feel like it's a losing battle because the systems aren't working for them. But that's where the strategies come in after we've helped rebuild that story. So here are some practical tools for counselors. A few things that you can start using immediately. Do some language audits. Help clients and students identify the tone of their inner voice. What is that inner voice saying to them, and how can we flip that script? We can pattern track. What situations trigger for them that I'm not good enough feeling? Where is that coming in on a regular basis, and how can we kind of halt that before it turns into those I'm not good enough feelings? We can mirror strength. We can reflect strengths consistently and specifically. So when you're working with a student or a client, when they minimize those strengths and those things that they did well, it's our job to highlight those, to really reflect on those and help them see that they are doing great things. And then it's just a matter of psychoeducation, explaining the link between ADHD and self-esteem to our clients, to our students. This alone can be incredibly revealing, okay? They need to see that it's not a fault in them. It's just kind of a tweak in their thinking about themselves. I also am putting a worksheet for counselors and a worksheet for students on counselorhq.net. They are going to be free for the next month. So if you're interested in those, definitely take a look at counselorhq.net. It'll be in the counselor tools section under worksheets. And those, like I said, those will be free for the next month until for the entire month of May. So if you take one thing from this episode, let it be this. You are not just helping students and clients manage ADHD. You're helping them rewrite the story that they believe about themselves. And that work, it changes everything. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the work that you do. And I will see you next time.